our family's always been involved in sports, and my dad loved hockey. He and Ron Smith got the idea after we played with East Hants, midget hockey, bantam hockey, came up through the ranks, I guess, in the hockey, and they decided once we played in town in a junior B league, I guess, in town, decided, well, we should be able to get a team out in East Hants.
Don Boyd and Ron Smith got together, and they were certainly the magic that made this team go. They decided that they were going to need a coach, and Hap Hansen was right there. And I'd have to say Hap was probably my best junior coach, my best hockey coach ever. He was very fair, he was very passionate, and he was a player's coach, so to speak. And anyway, those big three got together, and the rest is history. I mean, they really groomed the team together.
I had not met Don before, but I knew Ron from the north end of Halifax. So they approached me with the idea of maybe starting a junior hockey team, and they wanted to name it the East Hants Penguins. I had just finished playing senior hockey at the time, so I was probably looking for a little something to do in hockey, and they asked me if I would take over as the coach. I thought about it for a while, and I said, sure, why not? It's worth a try.
Well, the Metro Valley Junior League, which I was very proud to be playing in, was the best junior league of the day on the mainland, comparable with the other leagues in Cape Breton, and probably almost as good as the university hockey of the day. But we had high caliber players, and for many players it was the only place to play. Beyond the Bantam minor hockey leagues, it was the place to be, and I was certainly glad that I got to play in it.
Over a period of time, we became, I won't say a powerhouse, but certainly a team to be contended with that first year, which surprised me because I felt it would take more than 1 year to be competitive. But we were very competitive, even in the first year.
To be an East Hants Junior Penguin in '68, '69 was wonderful. We had a great team. The guys were dedicated. On the ice, they had a great work ethic, in the corners, fighting all the time, for the puck. I think that was probably the best feature of our team, is a hard-working team and ethic. And we all got along great in the dressing room, outside. And
as far as being competitive with the bigger centers, the kids up here had a lot of desire, and what they lacked in talent, they made up for in desire, and that's what made us, I think, really competitive.
They were very good hockey players, and we played together. We got along good. We had good chemistry again, and we were just a competitive team, and we didn't hold the backseat to anybody. It was a real good time playing here.
I think we were a fast team. We were a balanced team. We had 3 to 4 good lines, and some good goaltending, and a few enforcers. So all those were important, in having a well-balanced team, and the results of that year really showed it.
the things I remember about it so much is that other teams hated playing in East Hants, and we loved it. The rink had character.
Well, the old East Hants Arena was a pretty rough little place, but it was our home rink, and we knew how to play it. It was a small ice surface, and we had some pretty good players that were able to manipulate around those. And guys like Billy Parker, who could bang the boards and make the other teams honest. In that small arena, I think that we had the advantage because we were able to do so.
Most of the teams that came in to our rink were sort of sporting us 2 goals right off the get-go, because we knew the bounces, and I mean, you know how small that rink was. The ice surface was very small.
The arena in Lance is well known throughout Nova Scotia. It's called the Burn.
Went to school to tell them about what an arena manager did, and one of the kids said, is it true that the rink used to be a barn first? Because he had heard from so many people about the old barn in Lance, you know.
The way the rink was laid out, where you had to walk from these little dressing rooms along the edge to get out onto the ice was a bit intimidating to visiting teams. I know that it was invigorating for the home team because as we were walking from our dressing room to the bench, everybody was shouting and cheering you on. So it was a lot of fun. Well, I think it was one of the first teams where it was regional in scope as opposed to community teams. So I think it brought together the region. Everybody was behind that regional team. It brought the communities together. They filled the rink constantly to see our brand of hockey.
We played the semifinals against Windsor. We beat them up fairly handily, I guess, and then of course we played the finals for the Junior B Championship for the Metro Valley Junior League. There was a lot of hype about that, a lot of articles in the newspaper. The games were broadcast on the radio by Truro Station, every one of them, play by play.
Well, Truro had a pretty good team. Huey Masson, they were well coached. Huey was a great coach, and they had some Robbie Cook and a few more of them who were very good hockey players, and we were competitive with them. But it was a kind of a series where I think it was a toss-up, and Truro was a pretty good team, and because of the location, it drew fans from all over this area. So it was well attended. All of the series was well attended. And it was a series worth remembering.
At the time, of course, the population in the area is probably only about a third of what it is now. And to have, for example, at that last game, over 1,800 people, well, that's probably a third of the population of East Hants. That's tremendous. I mean, that just shows you the support and the interest that the area had with the East Hants Penguins. It was a wonderful sense of community, really a great atmosphere, I guess, and it brought the community together like I don't think anything has ever since.
The people in the area were so wound up. As I recall, I think some of the local young ladies formed a cheering section we had cheerleaders, which was almost unheard of, in that type of hockey in that era.
I'm sure at times we had probably close to 2,000 people in there at one time, and there wasn't an inch of room at all, but the atmosphere in there was something else.
It was an exciting brand of hockey, very talented hockey players who created a lot of excitement on the ice, and the fans responded, and of course that fed on itself.
The game I remember the most with regard to the fans was the final game we played against Port Hawkesbury for in the series against them for the Nova Scotia Junior B Championship. We'd lost the first two games in Port Hawkesbury, very close games by 1 goal each game. And the third game, well, the excitement in East Hants was unbelievable. Everybody was talking about hoping that we'd come back and win the next 3 games and win the series, but that wasn't to be, unfortunately. But anyways, there were fans that were lined up outside the rink 3.5 hours before the game began. And once the game began, there was over 1,800 fans in there. They were jam-packed like sardines.
In fact, I remember one game, I think the president of the league, Judge Elliot Hudson, there was no room for him to sit, so we had to sit him in the penalty box.
And it was interesting because I guess Keith Miller thought they were going to have a record day at the canteen. His wife, Roxy, was running the canteen. But it turned out to be just the opposite because it was so crowded, nobody could get to the canteen. So that was a tremendous game. I'll never forget the noise and the excitement. It's a thrill I'll never forget.
We started from nothing, built it into something special. The community has seen it evolve into something special. And I think all of the communities in the area should take great pride in what they've done for the sport.
There's a lot of memories here, and certainly we grew from a boy to a man, if you will. So I have a lot to thank on the plate towards Don and Ron, and of course Hap himself. So just a great area to grow up and play hockey in. Made a lot of good friends, and I see familiar faces out here every time I come. And it's nice to reminisce and see some of the pictures that are around the Sportsplex here to remind people who started all this. And like you say, the legacy just goes on, which is really nice.
When this thing first started 50 years ago and Mr. Smith and Mr. Boyd started it, it evolved into something special. You know, I think that we, and when I say we, the collective we, Mr. Smith, Mr. Boyd, and the community, had a part in playing for all of these present-day kids that proudly wear the Penguin logo. They were responsible for that, and yes, I take great pride in that.
I think it's wonderful. I tell my grandchildren about it, that their great-grandfather was involved in coming up with the name of the Penguins. Between him and Ron Smith, of course, they get the idea from the Pittsburgh Penguins, which came into the league about the same time. So, but it is wonderful. I think everybody just associates hockey in the area with the Penguins. There have been so many great teams that come out of East Hants using the Penguin name. It's a great feeling, yeah. I love it.
2017 East Hants Sport Hall of Fame inductee, 1968-69 East Hants Junior Penguins.